I kind of see America right now like a bear. It's weakened. It's maybe overweight and out of shape, and the hunting dogs are after it. And as the bear is weakened, more dogs that are hiding in the shadows come running out to take a bite because they see this as the chance. The globalists know that a free and independent America is the biggest bulwark against their total globalist domination. So whether they win a civil war in America or not, turning America into what I see Civil War II as, I make an equation, Rwanda times Bosnia. America will be brought to its knees by a civil war. It will no longer be a factor on the world stage.
The globalists are allied with radical Orthodox Islam in an attempt to take over this country, and I've never seen such a move. And I was with guys that had been in all three of the ground force disciplines of the military today, and then what they saw at the shooting range, they were blown away by. And it just shows how there's massive preparation for civil war in this country by the left. They've been trying to get our guns the whole time, believing they would just take control of the security services and win that way, but now they don't think they will. They want to go up against the state governments. They want to intimidate the federal government into capitulation. They want to go up against us. They want to decapitate the leadership of the resistance. And folks, I've been on air 22 years. People know I don't talk like this if it isn't going on. And there's a lot of stuff I can't tell you about. It's bad, though. Just like I told police and others, and anybody that's prominent in the resistance, which just means you want America, freedom. They've said starting in early November, they're going to launch their terror attacks simultaneously. Now, they may not do it, but that's the announcement, and Paul's linked to all the major communist groups, the socialist groups, the Democrats. They all announce it in this article. And we got the videos undercover of them saying they're getting ready for it. And notice, you never know the cop's name they shoot in the back of the head. It's in the news, it's out. Or the woman stabbed to death. It's every day. A cop shot in the back of the head, a woman stabbed to death. People run over, and it's just, they don't even matter. So you need to understand that, ladies and gentlemen, that this is getting serious. The little cowardly leftists think they brought in groups that are going to somehow team up with them later. That just shows how stupid they are historically or at a gut level. So we've got hours of footage at Infowars.com and Newswars.com. Drudge is linked to it. Louder the Crowder got a lot of it. They're not doing this to play games. And people need to be ready. But, I think this is what gets to me the most. I can't believe that the globalists think they're going to get away with all this. And I can't believe that they can find so many people that'll sell out and engage in criminal activity. But there's something about weak people, they like evil. There's something about folks that have never had power that they think a conspiracy or subterfuge or a deception is manly when it's not. Being straight up, being a straight shooter is really all there is in this world. And so many people I run into, they think when I'm talking to them like there's some coded message. No, I'm really talking to you straight. And I just don't understand why other people don't like straight talk or how they can't handle straight talk or they don't get what straight talk is. But I respect myself. And I respect you, so I'm going to give you straight talk. But I think about 60 Minutes and their lies and ABC and their lies and NBC, and I think about CNN and MSNBC and just all of it. And I just think about why. And they use the freedom and openness of our society to say, why should we go along with the will of the people? Why should we go along with the Renaissance? Why should we go along with all the success why don't we just hijack the success, and that'll make us successful. But as you've noticed in other civilizations, hijacking success never makes you what you hijacked. It makes you a loser. And no amount of potpourri or pomp, no amount of regalia, no amount of red carpets, no amount of machinery will ever make you a good person. Only actually doing the real thing will do it. So maybe I should air this little CNN piece to analyze it, getting back to Saturday Night Live. That is not a comedy program. It is a propaganda program. I played the clip of Michael Shea with his little fake name saying that Trump is a cheap cracker, which is the N-word for white folks. And then saying he didn't help any brown people in Texas or anywhere else, which is a total lie. But I thought I'd actually play the Saturday Night Live calls Trump a cheap cracker clip. I thought I'd play SNL returns with Trump mockery. It's not Trump mockery. It's Trump lies with a studio audience of picked idiots that would laugh at drying paint, with Alec Baldwin saying, we're not sending any aid. We didn't know Puerto Rico was part of America. When the aid's all been there, piled up the ceiling, and the Teamsters and the Democrats won't deliver it, and go on TV and brag about it. You cheap cracker. Imagine saying about Obama, you didn't respond to Louisiana, Mississippi last August, a year ago, plus 13 months ago. You're a cheap N-word. I would never say that. The mainstream media is so deceptive, they'll probably say, Jones says you didn't do enough, you cheap N-word to Obama. Quotes. And at the bottom of the article, they'll say, Jones was speaking about how Trump was called a cracker and using, they'll always, they know the average person doesn't read the whole 3-page article, but it doesn't matter. I'm not going to live my life according to their deceptions. But let's just go ahead and start the video. Here's Alec Baldwin. Alex Jones says black people aren't humans. Yes, I learned it at InfoWars. Remember that? That was last season. He's back with more BS. Here it is.
Ma'am, I don't know if you know this, but you're in an island in the water. The ocean water, big ocean, with fishies and bubbles and turtles that bite. We want to help you, but we have to take care of America first.
Wait, you do know we're a U.S. territory, don't you?
Trump and SNL.
I do, but not many people know that, no.
But the point is there's a major civil war within the elite going on right now. So people need to understand, ladies and gentlemen, that this is the real thing that's going down, okay? And there are globalist forces that actually intended to end all freedom in Europe and the United States and Canada, make people convert to globalism, which means pro-Islam, and people are fighting back. And it doesn't mean because I have sources high up that have been, at the head of the Davos group or in Bilderberg that I'm like, want to be in their club. No, they're defecting from it, and the whole thing's falling apart. Because it was sold based on a lie, but we're in the midst of a civil war. And the fact that the Democrats would block aid to Puerto Rico and do it publicly while blaming Trump shows you how brazen they are. But what Matt Bracken said, his power went out earlier, we got him back for a few minutes here, as we're about to end the transmission, is key. They don't think they're going to win this. They want to weaken the U.S. so communist China, other globalist forces, the globalist control, can make big power moves. It's about crippling us, and that's why people that have been at the high levels of the Davos group and others are now been out of it for years. Even before this big revolution came, we've had friends in the system is what I'm saying. We're not doing this alone. But no, the enemy has friends. So thank you all for your support. I wanted to play Jim Brown from Friday on Fox, who said, look, this whole race war thing's a bunch of bull. It was a bunch of white folks helped me get where I was. Most white people don't want to be racist. And he lived under real racism. So here's that clip, and we'll finish it with Matt Bracken.
So I don't always look at black and white, but I'm going to say this to you.
Yes.
And I don't ever say this. The 3 greatest people in my life were white. Okay? my high school coach, my high school superintendent, and my mentor in Manhasset, Long Island. I never had a father, really. My great-grandmother raised me. But I was in this country where I got help from people that were not of my same color. So when I come out of the box, I don't come out of the box as racial. I look for good people and people that will be like-minded and help me try to do good for other human beings. So that's truly where I'm coming from.
And that's Martin Luther King. I don't go to a restaurant because white folks or black folks own it. I go because the food's good, and if they're nice and hospitality, baby, I'm there. That's why I'm in Mexican food restaurants most of the time. But it's just crazy that that's common sense, and they're trying to demonize that with cultural Marxism and admitting it. It's in the WikiLeaks. So, Matt Bracken, in the 5-6 minutes we've got left, sorry your power went out. Wow, I know you're on the road right now, not in your normal studio. They're making their move. What do we do? What should we be watching for?
Well, first, that's very powerful, and God bless Jim Brown, greatest NFL running back in history still. Nobody like him. For standing tall and saying that, which it was not easy to say, I'm sure. A lot easier to stay down, but he's always been a peacemaker.
Oh, they're threatening to fire current players that put their hand over their heart in America.
Yeah. Well, I kind of see America right now like a bear. It's weakened. It's maybe overweight and out of shape, and the hunting dogs are after it. And as the bear is weakened, more dogs that are hiding in the shadows come running out to take a bite because they see this as the chance. The globalists know that a free and independent America is the biggest bulwark against their total globalist domination. So whether they win a civil war in America or not, turning America into what I see Civil War II as, I make an equation, Rwanda times Bosnia. America will be brought to its knees by a civil war. It will no longer be a factor on the world stage while it's in a civil war. And in that time period, the globalists think they will be able to establish the new world order. A plan to ride the tiger is not the same as riding a tiger. They might be able to instigate a civil war in the USA. I don't think that there will ever be like a complete globalist takeover in the world because it's more likely, I think.
Sure, they're going to play the different. Well, they never wanted a world government. They wanted to isolate countries, break them down, have city-states that are above the law. They used to exploit all the other regions. They admit that.
Right, and we'll end up as basically serfs or peasants, and they'll end up as.
And they're going to put out fake opposition leaders and fake leaders of both sides that are puppets. We have to realize who owns it, who doesn't. Once it gets into physical, if it does, it's key to realize the names you hear on the news are not the targets.
And you can see how this civil war is already being played out politically. A big litmus test or dividing line is looking at General Flynn being taken out. He was basically taken out, and then H.R. McMaster, who I call H.R. McBilderberger,
who's openly an Islamicist. He's openly he doesn't want. He's a pro-Islamicist.
Right, they're sticking with
anybody that criticizes radical Islam that's the litmus test. And I've been told by globalists off record, we won't destroy you, leave Islam alone. Why is Islam the key? I didn't realize until a few years ago how it's their whole, they think demographically it's about to be 3 billion, it's 1.5 billion now. They think that's their key.
And remember, Islam plus socialism equals Islam. At the end of the day, socialists always convert to Islam. And Islam is very cozy for the people that want to be our feudal lords and masters. I mean, imagine, it's just right out front. If you're a sultan, you get to have the harem, you get to have all the wealth, you get to make all the rules.
So it's perfect for psychopaths.
It's perfect for psychopaths. There have been many caliphs and sultans in the past who were essentially like a Hitler who won. Imagine if Hitler had won World War II, dominated all of Europe and Africa, and lived to be 90, with a harem of thousands of girls, doing all kind of eugenic experiments, unbridled. Well, that's happened over and over again in Islamic history. Eventually,
and then those psychopaths have 100 sons, and then sell the daughters into slavery, and that's why all the inbreeding. I'm not being mean. 35% of the birth defects are less than 1% of the population. Pakistanis in England. I mean, it's just a disaster.
Remember, there's a something called hybrid vigor, which is if the weaker and lower IQ Arabs eventually take Europe by the Sharia plan, the Quranic, conquest plan.
Oh, they say that. In fact, the Imam of Jerusalem says that women are ours. We will now be strong. We are taking them. They know that.
And it won't matter if the rising generation of European women wanted to be childless or lesbians or career women. It won't matter.
They're going to rape
They're going to have 5 children who are going to be 100% Muslim, even though they're half German or Swedish. So the next generation coming out of this won't be scrawny, 85 IQ desert Arabs, essentially Pakistanis, Saudis. They're going to be half, German rocket scientist material, but they'll be 100% fanatically Islamic. It was the Berbers of North Africa who conquered Spain, not Arabians. The Quranic conquest formula was successful at converting the Berbers of North Africa to Islam, but they were much bigger, stronger, smarter, tougher than the Arabs that conquered them, because each little Berber tribe was independent and squabbling constantly. Well, the Muslim plan takes over one tribe after another, joined all the Berbers together, and in a few decades, they swept through Spain and got all the way into France. So people that say, well, it's too bad for Europe, but how does that affect me?
Bottom line, we're in an existential fight for our lives. We have to take the government completely back. We have to absolutely cauterize the cancer and cut it out, or we're all dead. And we're genetically dead, and I'm not going to put up with it. This is a group coming to use our openness to destroy us and dominate us, and they're so damn arrogant and so creepy. And the globalists are allied because they just want the power for a decade in their little Satanist operation to desecrate Christianity.
And America is the last redoubt. Nobody should think, well, I'm going to take my
Europe's already demographically fallen.
New Zealand right. We have to make the stand in America. If you think that you can make the stand in New Zealand, forget it. Or Patagonia.
That's right. You're not going to run and just defeat this by living your own damn life out. You got to do it now for everybody. Thank you, Matt Bratton. Let's talk soon.
Yeah.
Today we call it bone broth, and for thousands of years our ancestors enjoyed its benefits before it became lost to our modern diets of processed junk. We are now introducing Caveman by InfoWarsLife.com, the ultimate in true paleo nutrition with bone broth, turmeric root, chaga mushroom, and 7 total primal superfoods in a single great tasting formula. Caveman. It's those people living in the wilds having to actually build civilization that are our superior ancestors, and we need to do everything we can to recapture that. Everyone knew that you used all the parts of the animal. You used the meat for sustenance, the fat for cooking, but you used the bones for strength. From the outside structure full of minerals and key cofactors to the marrow that produces the blood for the body, this is the engine of the life essence. I'm a long way from the caveman my ancestors were, but I'm sure as hell trying to get back to that essence that made us what we were, and this is a big part of it. I know you're going to want to check out Caveman Ultimate Paleo Formula for yourself at InfoWarsLife.com today.